What's going on, guys? It's your host, Sunny from the podcast. It's Always Sunny in the 6th. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. We're midway through December. We're almost wrapped up with 2020 as we approach 2021. Today is another funny, great episode. We're joined by a good buddy of mine, Roop. We actually, shoot the shit, a lot of bullshit, share a lot of personal anecdotes of this year, things that we've kind of gone through. He's been on the podcast before. I figured it'd be great to catch up with him again. He does work for the city of Toronto, handing out, all those tickets for those people that are not socially distancing. But beyond that, there's so much more to talk about. He is also the host of his own podcast, Fire in the Hole. Grab yourself a drink, whatever it is, depending on when you're listening to this, whether it's a coffee or a drink or a spliff. It's December. Get on those holiday vacation caps and, tune into this fun episode and hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We got a shitload of episodes coming before the year wraps up. Let's get started.
All along with me, and we're waiting for the sunlight, for the sunlight.
How close to far do you want it? Do you give a shit? I'm gonna sit back here.
As long as, do whatever you want, as long as your disc is facing you right there.
Yeah.
So you can even go like this.
No, I'm not gonna fuck with it too much.
No,
Yeah.
fuck with it. Get
never
comfortable, get used to it. But ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Happy fucking Thursday. It is. Sorry, I gotta do a better job at not cursing, but I can't help it.
When we first started doing ours, I'm a swearer, and
Right.
around certain people, it's always fuck this, fuck that. And I had a few people that listened to our first ones that we did, and they were like, "Is my brother-in-law's
Yeah, you gotta come closer to the mic.
My brother-
You can move that.
my brother-in-law's wife."
That arm. You can move it down.
Oh my god,
See, there you go.
it's like this robotic dick.
It's literally it's a robotic dick that can move pretty much.
That's how you want them. If I want a robotic dick, I want it to move. No, but one of the first ones that we did, the first couple, I was swearing so much. I don't know if I was using it as a filler,
Right.
like in between certain things. And then when I listened to it, it was actually cringy. Like it was too much.
Right.
And then you adjust slowly.
Well, that's the thing. Like I talked about this on the last episode, the one that dropped yesterday. It was like, fuck, man, I was just going back and listening to some of the older episodes. I'm like, damn, I don't want to hear the whole thing. Like, I hate the way how I sound, the content, the delivery. But that's the whole point. If you cringe, if you cringe in your past performance, that's how you know you've grown, right?
Oh yeah.
But today, guys, we have a special guest for the third time appearing on this podcast, Mr. Roop Sandhur.
What's up?
It's a Thursday. I told Roop that I'm dropping a shitload of episodes this month, and I want to catch up with all my friends, talk some shit.
How many episodes do you have in total now?
In total?
Yeah.
42.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
42 episodes. I mean, I took some time off through the year as well. This pandemic kind of fucked up the routine,
Yeah.
and then, I have other responsibilities too.
and you wanted to get away from like the online stuff, like the Zoom shit, right?
Yeah, you know what? Like it worked. Like it was fine, and for the time being. But for the listeners that have been following me religiously, the sound quality between Stay the Fuck Home and this, huge difference.
What about the quality of conversation?
It was good. I mean,
No, but sometimes you don't have that with that human thing. Like me and you shoot the shit before we got here a little bit. And obviously we're keeping our distance and we're following all the protocols, right?
Yeah, guys, we have our masks on. We had our mask on until we entered the door.
No.
I made sure to polish my place clean. I have an on-site testing as well. And
we had rapid testing. We're huge on the rapid testing. What do you feel about that vaccine?
So interesting enough, like they announced it yesterday that vaccines are rolling out. Yeah. People are taking vaccines, and there's a shitload of volunteers. I think one thing, there was a headline today on Real Toronto News where there was like 3-4 faces, and the faces were kind of lopsided.
Balls palsy, the paralysis.
Paralysis. It's
on
like
the face.
Yeah, it's like that's the result of the vaccine.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like realistically speaking, that allergy reactions happen with any vaccine, regardless. But you can't rely on an Instagram headline, because I tried to search for it, like those same pictures and whatnot, and it seems like those pictures were taken from other sources and just put together to create.
I think those pictures might be, but I did hear that there were some adverse effects to like I heard 2
right
people that had severe allergies in the past, And those people, like, it was so bad that they had EpiPens on them. So they had some type of allergy, and then they had this, and it was a counter interaction, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But you're gonna get that.
It's definitely something to be a bit more mindful of. And I think before the issue was, when's the vaccine gonna come out? Now that the vaccine's being rolled out, the question is, hey, are you gonna take it?
Are you gonna take it?
Or are you not gonna take it?
Yeah.
What side are you? East side, west side?
I grew up and I partied in like 1997 downtown. I like the Government. You know what the Government was? The Government,
You know
the
who you're
giant
talking
club.
to?
Yeah, I do. Giant raves and shit that used to go down there. You see Boy George spinning and a whole bunch of Tiesto and who the fuck it was.
It's probably one of the best clubs. Iconic, legendary. I don't think we're ever gonna see a space that huge, that massive.
If you're my age and you party downtown at the Government in that time period, I'm not worried about what the fucking vaccine has in it. Because, and if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, for the people that don't know what he's saying, like even my age group,
Yeah.
you know, for a good chunk of our, like, you know, I think our 20s, we went to these festivals and parties. And when you think about the water bottles that would be shared,
All
you
that
think
shit.
about the shoulder rides, you think about the fucking sardine dance floor.
Yeah.
Put your hands up in the air. And
Petri dish of shit going.
it's like, if you survive that, if you survive Gov Days, Labor of Love, then you definitely survive. You're gonna be
I don't
fine.
give a fuck.
You're gonna be fine.
It's free.
You don't even
Give
need
me
to take
2. Right? I'm Indian. I'll take 4.
So would you take? Are you gonna take the vaccine?
I think I have to.
Yeah.
I think my wife's a pharmacist. She has to take it. And for what I do for work, I'm pretty sure I have to.
Okay.
It's frontline enforcement for COVID. So I'm pretty sure I have to take it.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, we might have some new listeners that are tuning in.
Yeah.
What is it that you do?
I'm a provincial offense officer with the city of Toronto. So right now we do COVID enforcement. Regularly I do like construction related shit.
Right.
And this is a new job for me. I just started maybe like a year and a half ago. Before that I was in corrections. Right?
Corrections. Yeah. So it's interesting because, like, the first time I had you on the podcast, you were in corrections. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Second time we talked about, you know, your enforcement, bylaw enforcement with
Yeah.
you know, social distancing, and
I think it had just started, right? The pandemic was kind of
it was like March.
Yeah.
March, April.
right
I think.
before lockdown. Was it mid lockdown or starting the lockdown?
No, I think this is after the lockdown.
Oh, was it?
Because I think it was after lockdown that, weren't you enforcing the bylaws after the lockdown?
Yeah, right. We had a week off. Then they made the EMCPA, the Emergency Measures Civil Protection Act, and then we went right into it.
Right.
Yeah.
How's that been like, man? How's that like you, so how many tickets have you written?
Oh, fuck, I don't want to get into that. But I've written a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I got some of the highest numbers in Toronto. But like, it's not like, oh, I want the numbers or anything like that. I believe in I believe in enforcement.
Right.
If there's a policy or procedure out there, and we were dealing with a global pandemic, and that's how I see it. And when you look at general deterrence, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, and I come from an absolute enforcement background. General deterrence is you want the punishment to be severe enough so other people don't do it. Specific deterrence is me slapping you with a charge or
An $880 ticket.
yeah. So you're not going to do it because it's affecting you. General is how it affects other people.
Right.
When this COVID stuff happened, my understanding of enforcement is, if I charge one person for doing something, that'll affect so many more people, and it'll stop so many people from doing that activity. So at the beginning, it was going into parks and using amenities. Let's say that, like using workout equipment at parks, and we didn't know the severity of the spread.
Right.
We didn't know that, right? And remember all the misinformation or wrong information that was getting put out there. Don't wear masks. Wear masks. It's airborne. It's not airborne. I didn't know. It's a lot different now. I mean, that's why they loosened up some other restrictions. So my mentality was every charge that's laid, it might affect a couple hundred people to a couple thousand people with social media, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the bigger enforcement now is also like the towards small businesses and businesses too, right?
And we just had that conversation outside. Like it's tough to innately. I understand enforcement, but then to enforce policies that you might not agree with totally.
Yeah.
But you still got to do your job.
Right. And we don't have to get into details of that because
Yeah.
at the end that this is your current job.
Yeah.
So you don't want to
Yeah.
say anything that,
Well, yeah.
puts you
Yeah.
in a predicament or an interesting
I
situation.
don't like the
so.
policy. I think sometimes when people look at like people in enforcement roles, police officers and provincial offense officers, bylaw officers, is that they still have a job to do.
Right.
But in my personal life, it's my personal life, right? When I had a conversation with my wife about certain things, and when it comes down to like the government saying, stop meeting certain people and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
No one's going to stop me
Right.
from going to see my parents,
Right.
right? But I'm going to be conscious, and I'm going to make the conscious decision to keep my distance and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But to go to my parents' house and see them on the lawn or something like that, I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to stop me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was born free, baby.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, you were born wild and free. And we all know that. But I think the other thing is, like, there's a little bit of, I guess, like a double standard or inconsistency, because, like, you know, I brought this specific example up. I can go to the LCBO, pick up a bunch of tall cans, decide that I don't want this, sell out, put it back. How is that any different? And there's like about 9, I think the capacity for the downstairs LCBO is about 25 people.
Yeah.
So it's about 50% or whatever it is of maximum.
Where we just went right now?
Where we just went right now.
There was a sign, because I always look, there was a sign of 10.
Okay.
And there was 12 people in there.
Right.
I did a head count.
And did you?
Just automatically did a head count. Yeah.
And like in my condo, I'm not allowed more than one person, right? As an example, at a time. Is it at a time or is it
You're not allowed anybody right now. We're in lockdown mode.
proper?
You can't have anybody that doesn't live here.
No, I can't, dude. I'm allowed one person at
No,
least.
you're not.
I 100% guarantee
Okay.
you that. I can
All
search
right.
it up after this podcast.
Do
I'll
it.
show you.
I'll search it right now. It's RA. I'm not going to get into it because
Yeah.
you're not allowed.
Yeah, true. Interesting.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm a little bit of a rebel, I guess.
Right now, you're not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think that's where the frustration vents from a lot of these small businesses, because it's like, wait, I can do this, but I can't do that. I can do this, but I can't make my livelihood and whatnot. But
Here's the thing: in the city of Toronto, you can't do a lot of things. Flower shops are closed.
right,
Right.
right.
Yet, if you go to Costco, you walk around Costco, and I was just at Costco, they sell flowers there.
Right.
Right. So I come from a family of business owners. My parents worked 16, 17 hours a day. We had convenience stores. We owned stores in Rexdale, St. Catharines.
Dude, I did not know that. Seriously?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So do not think that I do not feel for the small business.
Right.
It's the toughest shit I've ever done in my entire life, and I've dragged people into segregation for having too many oranges. So this is tough.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
But you still got to enforce it and abide by it.
I mean, yeah, you got to follow the rules at the end of the day. I think that's really what it comes down to. And
yeah.
with the vaccine rolling out, I know there's going to be a whole different issue.
You have that. What's it? It's the fatigue, COVID fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
Dude, I have fucking 2020 fatigue. So one of the main reasons with this whole Sunny and Friends podcast is kind of reflect on the year, look back on it. Beginning of the pandemic, we talked about COVID, we talked about 2020, the anticipations of what to expect. And this has been one long year. There's been, you know, a multitude of different events from, you know, for example, Kobe passing in the beginning of the year, to international restrictions of travel. This would have been a year normally where I would be traveling, but I'm here locked in my friggin' condo, losing all my vacation days.
BLM,
Black Lives Matter was massive.
Yeah.
Going into summer, the reopening of businesses as well, that adjustment that was made by gyms and whatnot. Working out from home was a big one, big component.
Huge.
And then recently now, like the biggest protest happening in the entire world, farmers' protest, which isn't getting enough headline credit.
Is it gaining momentum now? I don't know.
I feel like it is a little bit now, a little bit
traction,
more.
Right? It's so weird. Now I don't know how many people you have on your social media. I got a good amount. Right. It's only Indians posting on mine. Like only Punjabis are posting about the protest. I got one of my partners is a white guy, right? He posts about it because we're in connection, and he wants to learn about it, and he's a smart guy, and he really delved into the bigger situation of what's going on.
Right.
But he's the only guy that posts about it, and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So you have all these people on social media, but when Black Lives Matter is happening,
Right.
because it's the flavor of the month, I'm going to tell you, it is what it is. If you don't want to hear it, you don't want to hear it. But everyone wants to be woke, right? When that's happening, everyone posts about it.
Right.
But when something like this, which holds a little bit more magnitude for everybody, right?
Yeah.
No one gives a shit.
Right. I think that's like it's a sensitive topic, but at the end of the day, the reality is that you got people that are Instagram activists, right?
Oh yeah.
That they are down to support causes and whatnot that are trending. Don't get me wrong. I was at all the Black Lives Matter protests. I was there. I was doing my research, understanding what systemic racism is and all that. But I think that I do notice in my circle, you know, the level of ignorance with regards to farmers' protest. I think there's a need for us to be global citizens, but at the end of the day, you can't be ignorant. You can't be oblivious to what's happening in the world. This is the largest democracy in the world. We're talking about 3 times the population of the U.S.
Yeah.
Right. We just had the biggest elections take place right now with Trump out of the House. We have another person that's literally like Trump, if not his carbon copy.
Yeah.
That is a leader of one of the largest democracies in the world, who in the middle of the pandemic now decided to pass bills that are literally going to take away the core livelihood and the way these people are making money, which is farming, and it's barely to get by, just so they can, feed the pockets and fill the pockets of big corporations.
You're right, and I've always looked at it from the lens of it's like a systematic annihilation of my people.
Yeah.
They're systematically, they're going to kill. They're killing our people. Right. Once you take the roots from a tree, the tree is no more. Right.
It's like the artery, right? You clog those arteries. Right?
And it's been going on for a while. But it's like they're the other. They're the other. They're not here, right? They're in some other country. They got turbans on. They don't look like us. Right. So who gives a shit?
It's so true. Yeah. I think that's where this world is huge. There's shit happening around the world, like Yemen, for example, Belarus, for example, Nigeria, Russia. I think that, I'm not saying that everyone has an obligation. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just interesting to see even my people, our people, and the level of involvement that they're in here in Canada, for example.
Sorry.
What'd you do?
I just drank. It was so loud.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Okay, go on.
You're not supposed to drink alcohol, right?
I'm not. Go on.
Well, cheers to that, first of all. Where were we? Yeah, I think people are. I'm so against trend activism. If something is trending right now,
it's so transparent.
Like, for example, the first thing that comes to mind now is like the ALS challenge. Remember a couple of years ago, the ice bucket challenge, where you just right. No one was really focused on what ALS is. I guarantee you, if you asked 80% of the people that participated in that challenge, what's ALS, they couldn't even give you a basic fucking breakdown.
We want to take a video and put some ice on us and get some likes.
Yeah, and look at me, I'm a social justice warrior. But I think it's okay. Everyone should be focused and channeled on their own, on their own selves 100%. At the same time. You know what I mean? Do your part, create awareness, and that's why using this platform, I wanted to. I dropped a solo episode. I'm not sure if you heard it, just to kind of, give awareness to what's happening. And I did a little bit of my research. I'm no subject matter expert. Yeah. You're no subject matter expert.
Definitely not. I'm dumb as shit.
But it's big, man. It's fucking huge going on right now. And I've been keeping, being pretty attentive with the news.
And I think I just want to clear, just because I made those comments about BLM, from no point am I taking anything away from that. Yeah. Because their plight is our plight. Right? We're all immigrants. Right. We're all minorities. Right? But I find it very interesting from my entire platform that people that were so posting the black pictures, like the black screen,
the black square,
black square, and all that other stuff. I mean, people are people. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Well, even that took a lot. That got a lot of backlash. On Tuesday, when there was a thing called
Black Tuesday Square or something.
Black Tuesday Square.
Yeah. I didn't do that.
It's called performative activism. Yeah. And then it was, people did it in the beginning. Yeah. Everyone on my Instagram page was doing it.
Every Tuesday.
I have about 1,200 people. My whole feed, black square, black square, black square.
You know who didn't do it? This guy.
Who, you didn't do
it? I think I posted a funny video of my kids. And not in the fact that it's in defiance. Is that I posted a whole bunch of other stuff in relation to that.
Yeah. Right? But dude, what was that supposed to achieve though? What was and that's people at the core of that movement. We're actually preaching and advocating against it, because they said that all you're doing is, if you put a black square and you put a hashtag BLM, you're drowning out that hashtag. Because now when people search the BLM hashtag, all they see is
black squares,
wall of squares. Yeah. So it was it's a smart way for social media to censor these kind of movements.
We had some training not too long ago where it was black awareness training, and they go into the history. The first part was the history part of blacks in relation to Canada, right, and this is systemic discrimination against them and the systems that were put in place for oppression, right, and the long history of slavery in this country and the systems that were put in, right, like the first police force was actually put in place to catch slaves in Canada, right? So it originated from that.
Really? Like
When
this is after Confederation.
all that stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
you were going back a while back.
Right.
At the end of the first day, we come back the second day. The instructor says, "What did you guys think was interesting about the day before?" And you had a couple white dudes. They were white dudes, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, it was a great history lesson. It was a great history lesson. I loved it. Great history lesson." But they're missing the point. It's not a history lesson. The bigger idea of it is the system that was put in place back then is still in place today,
Right.
right? I get that aspect of it, but it skips so many people's minds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They don't get that aspect of it.
That's so true. Like, it's like, what's the point of looking at history when at the same, you got to look at history as a reflection or as a lesson of what went wrong
Yeah.
so that we could change things today. And it just boggles my mind, man, that so many things that happened maybe hundreds of years ago or 50 years ago
And it's not far.
are still happening today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not
and,
far.
And so, like, you know, on that note, let me ask you, you know, let's look back at 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you think 2020 will be written in the history books?
How it would be written for
50 years from now, 20
not
years
for my
from
family,
now.
but globally and what's going on?
Yeah, like, what do you think? Like,
Well, obviously,
I feel like it's going to be an entire book of its own, where it's going to be like, remember 2020? I remember that year. That was a year when a lot of fucked up shit happened, right?
but what happened? Yeah. The biggest thing is obviously the global pandemic,
Right.
right? Movement against like certain movements like BLM. Those things happen every 4 or 5 years,
Right.
right?
Well,
Over here it happened this year, but in Paris and in Europe and shit like that shit happens. It happens nonstop with
Right.
with migrants coming in and out of the country and all that kind of stuff. So these things happen. They were just in our face here.
Yeah. I think it was also more in our face because we're also all at home. So we're a little bit more glued to the television. We were so numbed out by getting COVID news over and over again that any sort of thing that became a headline was more so, like, does that make sense? Do you think so? Like, it was more so, like, received by a bigger audience.
It was the perfect storm.
Right.
It was the perfect storm.
Like any headline. Like, even if you're someone that releases the Netflix production.
Everybody's online. Everybody's seeing this. You had that thing that happened in New York where this crazy chick accused some other guy of doing some shit. And then you had George Floyd. And then there was another issue too. And it was all over social media.
Yeah.
Everybody's at home, like you're saying.
Don't forget Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin. That was one of the best things that happened.
Yeah, man.
That
That
was-
was
yeah.
and that was a perfect timing.
Yeah.
Everyone's fucking in lockdown. We're all at home. All right, we're gonna release Tiger King. I'm
I
sitting
loved
on my
it.
couch. I'm like, oh, Tiger King. Like, what's this about?
You can always think about the negative things that happened. But what are the good things that came out of 2020?
Yeah.
That's a good one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I think let's flip the switch a little bit. I think the positive wise, like, there have been a lot of silver linings this year.
I'm done working out at a gym.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
Will you ever go back? You see yourself going back?
I obviously.
By the way, guys, I'm looking at Roop right now, and I'm comparing this Roop to the Roop that was on this podcast.
And I looked amazing back then too.
And he looked, don't get me wrong, he looked good. He was big.
Damn good.
But damn, this guy lost.
Damn lean as shit.
His weight is on vacation right now, on
lean,
holiday.
Washboard abs. You know.
Looking good, man. So is this all, I mean, you're gaining a little bit more weight now?
Well, what happened was this: is that yeah, I'm a young guy. I've always been in shape.
Right.
And a full disclaimer is that about 2.5 years ago, I got diagnosed with diabetes while I was working in corrections. And one of the reasons I left was I'm a strong believer. One of the reasons that I got diagnosed and my body kind of switched was due to high stress, right?
Okay.
Due to certain roles I had over there. And I was like, I don't want to have those roles. I don't want to do those things anymore. Mm-hmm. And because I'm being a healthy guy. If you know me, I run and all that kind of stuff. I don't like treats. I'm always like, I think I'm pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think stress was a big factor for that. I didn't want that in my life anymore. So that's why I switched to this. So I gained a bunch of weight and I lost a bunch of weight. And then this summer I've been working out. We're doing the home workouts. And to me, it's an easy transition. I'm pretty motivated.
Not to interrupt you, man, but like, it's pretty insane and a myth that people think that if they live a healthy lifestyle,
You can't get it.
that you can't get diabetes.
No, sometimes it just happens.
Like, this is something for me right now, learning lesson.
Oh,
Because I'm like, damn, okay, so
Yeah.
no sugar, none of that bullshit.
I don't fuck with sugar. I don't eat treats.
Yeah.
I don't eat treats. My downfall might be like a breakfast sandwich here or there.
Right.
But
So were you super surprised? Were you like, this test has to be
when
wrong?
it happened,
Yeah.
because I lost a bunch of weight, and my wife picked it up. She's a pharmacist. She's like, I was like, I'm losing a bunch of weight. I'm always thirsty. And she was like, go get your sugar tested. And I went there, and then it was so high. It was like 22 or 23. And they're like, oh, you're diabetic. I remember sitting in the hospital. I didn't tell anybody, obviously. And I'm sitting there, and I started crying.
Yeah.
I started crying because I was like, I failed myself. I failed my body. And now when I'm on the phone, I'm in the hospital. I just found I'm diabetic.
Right.
And I started looking up on my phone. Oh, you're going to die 10 years earlier.
Fuck.
All right. That's what it says when you start look that stuff up, the negative effects
Yeah.
of being diabetic. And then, oh, fuck, I failed my kids. I failed everything. Right.
Right.
And it took me a while to kind of the pity party. It was a pity party for a bit. I kid you not. Right. And then after that, and then you adjust to anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You adjust.
I mean, Google, not going to lie, if you're ever sick,
Yeah.
do not fucking look at Google, man.
WebMD is the worst.
WebMD is the fucking worst. I remember this was during COVID this year. I woke up, like I get regular sleep apnea. It's been better now, but
Do you have a machine?
no, I'm actually getting a sleep test done. My dentist actually brought it up the other couple weeks ago when I went to go see him. He's like, it looks like you're clenching your teeth when you sleep a little bit.
Sounds like they upselled you for a test.
I think so.
Business is low for dentists.
They upsell. You know what? Fuck you. Like, you're right.
Yeah, fucking right I am. It's like coming in for service. Oh, you need your tires rotated or some bullshit like
he's
that.
like, let's do a sleep test, get you a night mask and whatnot.
Exactly. Fuck you. What's his name? You're lying. You're lying.
So he's like, so I was like thinking about that. I'm like,
You have a great smile. What's wrong with your teeth? Do you have you used to have braces?
I had braces. This was like 3 years ago.
Holy
like 3-4 years ago.
Fuck, look at that. You know what I just did while COVID was going? Here's a positive, ladies and gentlemen.
What?
I went on Smile.
Okay.
Smile is this thing that you put these retainers in your mouth and they straighten out your teeth. Now, I had this one tooth that would come back behind my teeth. I never wanted to get braces because I did martial arts for years and I sparred and competed. I never wanted to fuck my teeth up. So while COVID was going on, I paid for this 2Gs and I put these Invisalign things in.
Okay.
And they're like retainers. It straightened it out. It was this tooth right here.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, how long did it take?
3 months.
Oh, nice.
Not bad, right?
Dude, I got metal braces, man.
That's-
I got metal braces when I was 25.
Stone Age shit. You fucking nerd.
Fucking took me up. I had them on for about 2 years.
Oh my God. Was that after you graduated or while in school?
Dude, this was when I was working.
I knew you back then. I don't
was
remember you
like-
having braces.
I had. I used to smile with my mouth closed.
I did that my entire life. Son.
So now I make sure to fucking show my white pearl teeth. But,
Oh, they're beautiful.
But yeah, man, appreciate it. Thanks. I was Googling on Google like WebMD and fucking it's all sorts of stuff was coming up. And I was like, I was like getting paranoid. I need to go see a doctor anyways. Cause like I haven't seen a doctor for a regular checkup in like, it's been a while. But
go yearly, get all your blood work done. Every year you got to go. I go every year. My wife made me go. I go every year.
Yeah. Well, it's important. I think it's important, especially in today's day and age. I'm going to do that. Get like a checkup done. But man, WebMD can fuck with your head a little bit.
I woke up once in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I woke up and my stomach hurt a lot, and I make my own hot sauce. That's a prequel to this. I make my own hot sauce. I grow everything in my backyard.
By the way, he's a Western farmer.
Big time. Big time.
This guy grows everything in his backyard.
Everything. So I had I must have had a bunch of hot sauce. I didn't realize that. And
Yeah.
I'm in the washroom at like 3-4 in the morning. And if you eat hot sauce, you know what I'm talking about. This is a 3-4 a.m. wake up. You're in the washroom. You're sweating. You're praying to God. You want to go get an ice cube. You want to stick it in your butt because everything's on fire. So I'm in the washroom. I'm praying to God. My shirt's off. I'm telling my wife, listen, something's wrong, man. My stomach hurts a lot. I'm rocking back and forth. She goes on WebMD. She puts in all the symptoms. Stomach hurts, sweats, rolling pain. So she's like, oh my God, I think your pancreas is going to burst or something. What's the thing that bursts in your
you need to get appendicitis.
Appendicitis,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's like, oh my God, he's having a goddamn appendicitis, right? So she's on the phone. Okay, we got to have the paramedics. I'm in the washroom. At this point, I've taken all my clothes off. I'm just sitting on the toilet. Nothing's coming out. I'm sorry to get descriptive, but this is it is what it is.
Yeah.
And she's telling me this. I'm in the washroom. I'm thinking, oh my shit, my appendix is gonna burst. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Right? And paramedics come because she's called 911. Paramedics are standing outside the door, knocking on the door.
Right.
All right, sir, you're okay. I'm like, I'm coming out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're gonna come in, sir. We're gonna come in. I'm coming out. Just as this happens, all of a sudden, I get a release. Everything in my stomach comes out. Right? And it comes out hot.
Oh,
right?
shit.
So it comes out, boom, all of a sudden the pain's gone.
Then did you ever get pain
I
again?
stand up. I'm like, oh fuck, and everything came out.
Yeah.
Right. So I come outside and I'm like, dude, I think I just
Yeah.
shit everything out.
Yeah.
Right. And they were like, oh, okay, maybe it was just too much hot sauce. I had too much hot sauce. So WebMD almost had me go to the hospital thinking I had appendicitis, but it was just too much hot sauce.
That just reminds me, man, of a fucking funny story. A couple of weeks ago, medics came to my house.
Here?
Not here, at my
Okay.
parents'
Oh,
house.
shit. Okay.
It was me, my sister, my brother. My sister started doing these workouts, and she's working out and whatnot. I'm in the living room. I'm chilling. I'm watching like a new season, the season 8 of Shameless,
Yeah.
catching up. And I see my sister come out. She's like sunning my nose. I'm like, what's wrong? And she's covering it. Fucking blood gushing out everywhere.
Oh my God.
I'm like, if you know me well, man, I hate blood.
Yeah.
I can't go near blood. I get freaking woozy. I'm like, I just can't deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. I'm like, what'd you end up doing? She ended up putting, those elastic, those workout bands,
I love this. Yeah.
right? She put it on the door, right? She didn't close the door properly. She tried to do a row.
Oh my God.
And as she did a row, I shouldn't be laughing. It's horrible. She probably heard, I love you, Jesse. She's probably listening to this, but she freaking smacked her in the face.
Listen.
So as she's telling me this blood gushing out, I couldn't stop laughing, right? As an older brother, you know the deal. So I didn't know what to do. We never called an ambulance to my house ever.
Yeah.
My parents never did. As kids, we got into little accidents here and there. They'd always take us to the hospital. But we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
A,
You don't wanna go to
B, I
hospital.
didn't have a car.
Yeah.
I called the paramedics. I'm like, dude, hello? Something, my sister hit her face.
She's
There's a lot of
thinking she
blood.
broke her nose at this point?
I'm thinking, I've never seen that much blood in my life, too.
You're
I've never really dealt with like a broken nose, too.
Oh, okay.
So to be on the safe side, and I didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I paid,
Professionals.
you'd listen, I paid my taxes.
Yeah.
Well, why not? This is what they're good for, right? So I call them, they come over, and by the time they came, her nose stopped bleeding.
Yeah.
So they just did her preliminary checks and whatnot,
Yeah.
and that's it. They left. I called my parents. Parents came home like, I'm like, yeah, paramedics came. My dad's like, what the fuck?
Oh my
And
God.
he was like, how?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she smacked her face with bands. So anyways, guys, be careful.
Yeah.
You want to avoid injury like that. So make sure the door's closed.
I've been in the hospital 3 times.
Yeah. Did you ever break
during the pandemic?
during the pandemic?
Oh yeah, one time my little daughter,
Okay.
she's 5 years old, she stuck a bead up her nose.
What the fuck?
She stuck this little red bead, went right up her nose. I take her to sick kids.
Your youngest daughter?
Not the youngest, the middle one.
the middle one,
She's
okay.
5 or 6. I don't know how old she is.
Yeah.
I think she's 6. Horrible. I think she might be 6.
Dad of the year.
She stuck a bead up her nose. We had to go to sick kids.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to get that bad boy out. It was an ordeal. It was an absolute
that
ordeal.
sounds fucked up.
And then I went about 2 weeks ago. My other one, the little one, she's 3 years old. She was doing a box jump up the stairs. She's 3 years old. She's box jumping up the stairs, and she splits her lip. And normally, this is the difference between a boy and a girl. Right? If it was a boy, I would just be like, he's not going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Right? We're gonna hold it together. It'll be fine. But since it was a girl, I was like, she's gonna grow up. I don't want any scar on the lip. If it comes over the lip, it's a little different. Makeup and all that other shit,
Of
right?
course, of
Down
course.
the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Lips are important, so
This is why you get the Dad of the Year award.
that's it. I was like, God damn it, I gotta take this girl to the hospital. I didn't want to go.
Was
but
it much of a problem getting to the hospital?
She had no, sick kids, they're great. It's one of the best hospitals. It's such a fantastic hospital. If you ever get to donate, sick kids is great. We donate every year to them.
So you went to the one in Toronto?
Damn right we did from
Okay.
Brampton, yeah. Because
Nice.
when it comes to stitches and it's so fine like that, we're dealing with children, you want someone that's very specialized in that,
absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And plus, an issue with Brampton Civic, you go over there for a stitch and you're losing like a kidney or some shit, right? That's what, I don't know. I'm not going there.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that.
Through all 3 pregnancies, we live in Brampton, about 7 minutes away from that hospital.
Whereabouts are you in Brampton?
I'm not going to tell your audience that. No, I'm by 50 and Castlemore. I'm by
Okay.
Castlemore.
Yeah,
7 minutes away from the hospital. My wife did not want to go. So she's pushing out human beings out of her body, and she's like, no, I'd rather go to Mississauga. Yeah.
So you went to Mississauga?
Every single
Yeah,
time.
that's fair.
Yeah. You got to go where you're comfortable.
Good old Brampton, man.
Good old Brampton.
How you been otherwise? How's the fam? How's the daughters? Are they in school or?
No, we pulled the little one. We pulled the 2 little ones, and my oldest one, she's in grade 3.
Right.
And she came back. She was in school just because of socialization, all that kind of stuff. And I told my wife, we'll pull her anytime. Once we feel that we don't feel safe with what's going on, we'll pull her. And before the numbers got really bad in Brampton, she came home one day and she said, I don't want to go to school anymore because all the other kids aren't following the protocols. And she knows her shit.
Yeah.
I think probably gets that from being around me and my wife. And she was like, the other kids aren't wearing the masks, they're not doing social distancing and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to be at school, I don't feel safe. Now,
Right.
she's 9 years old.
Yeah.
Like, she's very conscious like that. So we're like, all right,
that's
we'll
good for her. I mean, but that
Yeah.
gets you. That's I mean, and if you take a step back and look at it from a more a broader picture, I don't even know why the fuck schools are open.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense,
Yeah.
and it's fucking up with a lot of people because I was talking to my manager today. I'm like, how's the kids doing? He's like, yeah, the kids are at home. Half the kids are at home. Half the kids are in school.
Yeah.
It's either these are the golden years of development, right? You had to pull them out completely, shut down the schools, shut down the whole city, as a matter of fact, properly, like a proper shutdown, where no one is allowed to go outside, and that's it, done deal. Even I'd rather do that than have to do a little, lockdown, not lockdown, lockdown, not lockdown, go back and forth for like 9 months, right?
That's one way to look at it. I mean, or we could just look at the stats and look at some targeted lockdowns. Right? Where's the stats?
Yeah.
What are the real conduits?
Right.
Where are the real infections happening?
What about the flu season though? Like
It's
this
gone.
is flu season.
It's gone.
You
We're
think
having the flu season. It's gone.
Yeah.
How many false positives do we have? I don't
Yeah.
know. Look at the stats yourself. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, that's a completely
Right?
different topic. But
Damn
yeah.
right. I don't know. Where's the flu season?
Yeah.
And my wife is she's a pharmacist, so we have these arguments all the time about certain things. And
So
she thinks I'm crazy.
They were saying, and I read up about this. They were saying that COVID-19 has killed the flu
Really?
because of just the way the nature of the genes or whatever the genetic makeup of COVID-19 has absorbed the flu. I'm no expert.
Yeah.
For my doctor friends out there, you can feel free to correct me, but that's what I was reading. But
I'm too dumb to know the truth, and a lot of the
listen,
information.
I'm up there with you. I'm pretty dumb too, so.
But I don't know. But I can see the bigger picture sometimes, and sometimes things are a little fishy.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. Right.
There was a heading. So I started doing something called Sunshine Thoughts.
Yeah.
Just a random. I actually got high yesterday, and I was just like chilling her, and I came across, would you rather do this? Would you rather do that?
I love that game.
Did you see that?
No.
No, it was on my story.
Okay.
It was
I've been
like-
at work the entire time. I didn't get to see your
Yeah,
story.
it was like
You posted last night?
I posted last night. I'm like, I'm gonna start doing these once a week.
I go to sleep early. I'm not a single man.
Hey, I'm not single. I'm like, would you? I'm like, one of the questions. I said so many. I'm like, would you rather be the funniest person in the room?
Yeah.
Or would you rather be the smartest person in the room? What would you be?
Oh shit.
Kinda
Probably
fuck-
the smartest.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
That kind of fucks with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty already the funniest.
Yeah. You are, man.
I don't know. That's a tough one. What would you be?
I think I'd go with the funniest.
Funniest?
Yeah.
Why?
I think if I was the smartest person in the room, sorry, David, I think I'm going to steal your answer because I asked my buddy. I wouldn't be in the room to begin with.
Oh, okay.
I'd be doing something smart. Like, why would I be in a room?
That's great. You fucking nerd. By yourself. Have fun. Right?
That's why I'd rather be the funniest
and
person.
you're the one of the guys that go around catching fucking Pokemons too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have fun. That's great. Yeah.
That's why I'd rather be like, yeah, funny, because it's like I'd rather stay entertained and keep myself entertained and keep everyone around me entertained and laugh. Listen,
I'd rather have funny friends and really smart and not so funny friends, right? I want to laugh.
Yeah, I think that like laughter is so important, man. Think about the amount of memories me and you have had.
Tons.
All the bullshit, dumbass things that we've done together.
Or the memories we don't have that are just as good.
Or just as good. Our
Right?
imagination's running wild.
Well, yeah. Right? Yeah.
On that note, memories actually. So it's interesting. I came across. I shared this on my story. A post about memories. And what do you think about memories? Like I think like we're so captivated and caught up in capturing the moment.
Yeah.
And we capture the moment. Let's say, bam, you're out and about. You got your iPhone. You take a picture of something happening, or you make a video of something happening, in anticipation and hope that you're gonna go back and revisit that memory by going through your iPhone, going through your galleries.
Never do.
But here's the thing: you never do.
Never do.
Right? The level of because there's levels to it. When you have a memory, if you want to relive that moment, it's not just a picture. That's just one element.
Yeah.
There's like the smell. your feelings, your emotions in that moment. Like, how were you feeling in that moment?
Yeah.
What were you thinking in that moment? You know, there's all these other caveats and things that are happening that don't get captured in that picture.
No.
At the end of the day. And so it's like, I think the point of that post was to be, you either be present or you prolong that moment at the end of the day as much as you possibly can.
But there is like a happy medium to that though, because when I get like, I don't know, is it Facebook or Instagram, they'll be like, oh, 3 years ago this happened.
True.
And I'll see a picture that I take, and normally what I'll do is I like taking a picture if we're going out with who I'm with, right? I'm not snapping all the time or anything like that, but I want a picture of that, because if that ever pops up, that reminds me of, oh, that was the time I hung out with Sonny and these guys and we went camping, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah.
I might forget and that might not come back up.
That's actually a good point. Like for the people that know me, like, fuck, you know me, man. I document my whole life.
Yeah.
I do it for that very reason. If
Yeah.
I go in Instagram, there's a feature where you go into the archives.
Yeah.
Even Facebook, like they remind you with these daily memories.
Yeah.
Dude, today there was this freaking memory from like 9 years ago of me busting into like the Osgood study room at like 2 a.m. to study for an exam that was at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I wouldn't remember that moment if I didn't get a memory from that picture of me, Mandeep, and Satmik just sitting there, right? So I agree with you on that. I think that there's levels of, I think the technology is so great that we can do that today.
Yeah.
But there's also an element, I want to start like physically printing my pictures.
Yeah.
Because my mom, when my girl was over and my mom was like showing albums, there's this element of having
Tactile. Going through each page
versus mindlessly scrolling.
Yeah.
You know,
seeing that you're actually looking at. So my wife's huge on that.
Yeah.
And she loves to print shit all the time and have these photo albums.
Right.
I'm very lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think sometimes when it's on like a digital form, it just flick.
Right. What's been your biggest memory of 2020?
I've had a couple, dude. Like we've had a very different experience than a lot of people when it comes to the shutdown and all that kind of stuff, because we haven't been home.
Right.
We were working straight. My wife works straight through. She's a essential worker. She's been nonstop doing that. Okay. I had a week off, and I was at work doing the enforcement aspect of it.
Right.
So it wasn't the big thing. Oh, we're staying home or anything like that. There was no loss of income for us or anything like that. So our experience was very different. We're very blessed in that aspect of it.
Right.
Got to spend more time with my kids. To what you're just saying right now about being present, I've learned that I spend too much time on my phone. I'll be at home and I watch that Social Dilemma movie.
Yeah.
And I pick it up too much, and now I'm trying to force myself to put it down and really play with them and talk to them more.
Get a little disconnected, right?
100%.
100%.
And it's a system that they have goddamn behind that. It's so addictive.
Yeah. That system, I think the first 20 minutes to talk about how social media really caters, and what they want to do is they try to make sure that they maximize your engagement with you.
Yeah.
So if you think about pulling out, they're gonna reel you right back in.
Yeah.
It's weird, man, because now on the new iPhone,
my pull out game is strong.
Yeah, 3 daughters.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm shit. That's why they got me. They know. This guy can't pull out. You got him. Yeah.
Oh man, how's that household like, man? It must have been, even during quarantine, like COVID. It must have been.
It's amazing.
It must have been like, so much fun.
It's one of those years where
I feel like you guys have such a fun family.
We have so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed, and they're growing up, and they're little individuals, little people, and we're so lucky to have them at home.
Right.
And I'm very blessed. Right. I know a lot of parents are having issues with their kids and stuff like that. I don't have that.
Right.
I'm very lucky that my wife is she's who she is.
Right.
Yeah, she keeps everything in check, and the girls go after her quite a bit.
That's good. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I mean, I hope to relate with you and share similar stories one day.
Yeah.
But I think
that's not the end all, though. Here's the thing: I saw this meme or some shit like that where it was a picture of "I'm complete," and it was had to do with a woman. Mm-hmm. And it had to do with woman, husband, child. I'm complete. And then on the other picture, it was this chick. A woman, sorry, and she had a bottle of wine and a pizza. I am complete. So just because you have kids and a family, that doesn't mean that you're complete. Like, this is just my life, right?
Right.
You don't have, that doesn't mean you're complete at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, the same thing kind of can be applied to so many other different things, right? Like, for example, being in a relationship versus not being in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest mistake that people make, and one thing I've learned is that the most important relationship in your life is literally the relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And you can't really rely on an idea of, oh, I need a family, or I need a wife, or I need kids to be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be happy with yourself.
Sunny has this thing that I saw when I came into his house.
By the way, do you want a beer?
I do want a beer.
Okay.
But on the wall, it says, "Found you when I went looking for myself." Found you when I went looking for myself. I love that. I really do. I mean, and sometimes, and when I looked at that initially, I didn't think that you wrote that for your girlfriend or anything like that. And we discussed that a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I found you when I initially saw that, I thought you're talking about yourself.
I am.
You are. Yeah.
No, I mean, to backtrack a little bit, like, to be even in a relationship, for me, that was the biggest silver lining in 2020, is like, I was able to get into a relationship and find a partner in this year, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know me, man, I was on my own little adventure and journey to figure out myself and who I was.
And it doesn't end.
And it doesn't end. I feel like, and you can probably, like, it's a lifelong journey.
Damn right it is.
Just because you find someone doesn't mean that it's done.
No.
Then you got to still be on that hunt to figure out who you are, because who you are keeps evolving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, think about when you look back at the memories and pictures. I look back at some pictures and even tweets. I'm like, what the fuck was I saying?
Oh yeah.
Right? Now today, when I hear this podcast next year, 100 episodes from now, I'm like, be like, oh shit, what the hell was I talking about? But that's why, like, that line, "Found you when I went looking for myself." I wasn't looking to get into a relationship this year. Yeah. That wasn't my be all and end all. And I think that it's important, like, we were able to meet where we both are kind of like figuring out who we are, but it's like everyone is kind of, everyone's on that little journey. I don't feel like we talk enough about that. Yeah. Everyone sees on Instagram all the la-di-la good shit. And
do you remember when we went camping? We go camping, and what I like to do, and I think I dragged this out one time, is I was like, let's go for a walk in the woods. And we went for a walk in the woods, and we stopped. So one person stopped, and then 50 feet away, another person stopped. Do you remember that?
I remember that vividly. So, guys, just to give you context, I met Roop about 9 years ago. Yeah, give me a beer too.
Keep talking.
Just give me whatever. We met 9 years ago. We went to Bon Echo. I've never gone camping, period. I've only gone to cottages and whatnot, but I never really went to front country camping. This guy Sabreeth, a mutual friend of ours, and Sunny Bayel, also a mutual friend of ours, he was like, hey, we're going camping with a bunch of guys, about 10, 11 guys. Our buddy Roop is spearheading it, and he is going to have some. Can you open this, Reed, just in case it... he's like, yeah, Reed. So I go. I'm thinking we're going to pull up to a campsite. Life is going to be good. La-di-da. It's literally was like day one was an entire mission at Bon Echo, getting to a campsite. After that moment, literally every year, me, Roop, and our group of boys, we would go camping. And that one particular year, we went to this beautiful island. We had the whole island to ourselves. Did we? Or did we have other people on there? Actually, no. There were other families on that.
We barely saw anybody.
But dude, we were like the life of the island. And I remember that night, we kind of had a little bit of fun, and we decided, hey, let's go on an adventure. Every 50 meters, one person, we would go out. We was a group of 10 of us. Every 50 meters, one guy would just stand still, and another guy, we would just keep moving as a group.
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
So this was like an exercise that I did when I was younger, because we used to be in like Boy Scouts and all that kind of shit.
Right,
they'd go out there, and we'd be out there for like an hour or so by ourselves, and they'd take you out these like nature walks at nighttime.
Okay.
And then,
so this was your idea. I couldn't remember whose idea it was.
Well, yeah, because we used to do it when I was younger.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, no, by younger I mean like 15, whatever it was. And one of the reasons for the exercise is that one, you're by yourself, so it's an exercise being by yourself, and it's to do with fear of the night, right? And you're in the woods, so once the party moves forward and you're standing there by yourself,
right?
Within 5 minutes, your eyes start adjusting, but then the forest comes alive, because then the little animals start moving around again and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And
And the exercise is really being with yourself and dealing with fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what happened was this. When you go with a bunch of dudes...
Are you going to give the PG version?
No, I don't know. Yeah. When you go with a bunch of dudes and you try to like, hey guys, let's do this really good thing. It's about an exercise, about being in fear and shit. And everyone's fucked up. You get a lot of giggles, right? Yeah. But you know, and sometimes what I find though, if you do it correctly, you can always find, if you do it with 10 people or 6, 7 people, you will always find a couple people that want to just talk or say something. And I always look at that as, oh, that guy's not comfortable being by himself at that moment. Right. Yeah. I've been on certain trips like that, and I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I really start analyzing how that person is, and he's just not comfortable being by himself.
Right. So I'm curious now. What was your perception of me?
No, I don't. I was hammered when we went. It was a stupid exercise.
It was the dumbest exercise because we were fucking shit faced too.
No.
Roop's like, hey, I have an exercise, and I'm always down. Ask Roop, I'm always game.
Always down. Always
hands
down.
up. I'm like, yo, count me in, even if it's just me and him, just the two of us. I remember it was on that same exercise, me, Sunny Day, and Abu Bara.
Yeah.
The three of us continued walking. I think you guys came back. Us three, we were drunk and high at the same time. We fucking got lost in the forest and we couldn't find our way back.
It's 50 paces, not you keep walking kilometers. 50 paces.
We got lost. By the time we came back, it was like hours later, man.
Yeah.
And we couldn't find our campsite. And we had no phone with us.
This is an island that's only like a kilometer. It's not that big. Turtle Island is not that big.
There were. I kid you not. Roop can verify this. There were goats and sheep.
Goats and sheep.
So we're talking about like there's wild goat,
Yeah.
wild sheep just roaming around.
Yeah.
Why were there wild goats?
I didn't just have them on the island. I remember we had a panic attack because we thought they ate some of our supplies, our homegrown supplies. We must have left them out the night before, and it was a panic. We were like, okay, that's it. They've eaten our supplies, so we're going home.
Oh man, yeah. Everyone was a little bit, but luckily we found it. It was like the level of happiness, the level of excitement amongst the group when we found it. We're like, yes.
But how disappointing is that in ourselves, though? Because once we thought that the substance was gone, we're going home. That's it. Fuck you guys. I hate you. I'm going home.
It's so true. We were like contemplating.
I was done with every one of you. I'm not staying here another night if I'm not getting high. Fuck you, I hate you, you're shit. Sonny, you're cool too.
Man, this was a good time. Man, we've had some really great memories, man.
And we're going to continue. We're going to get over this pandemic. We're going to have a great time. We're going to get over a bunch of stuff.
I think the biggest thing, like going back to that topic of being alone, I'm not going to lie to you. Like I think, Outcast, Andre 3000 said a line, the loudest person in the room is usually the saddest person, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that the biggest thing with this quarantine and COVID is realize that people that relied on those social interactions had no choice but to kind of be, within themselves and with themselves. Even if they're at home with family, right? I think a lot of people, as much as we hate 2020 for some of the hurdles and obstacles that came our way, I think a lot of people can walk away from this year and say, wow, I've either figured my shit out or I'm heading in that direction where I know what I need to do to figure my shit out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that's where, I think my biggest thing right now for this year is continuing being on that journey. Found you when I went looking for myself, continuing that journey and finding myself. Yeah. And a big part of that is this podcast, man.
I think you're doing a great job.
Meeting like-minded individuals, and just talking shit, talking about life, talking about things happening. Did you hear about, there was a post in Real Toronto News today about this girl is suing her ex-boyfriend.
For what?
Because they dated for 8 years, and they broke up. Mm-hmm. So she's like, you wasted my time. Mm.
She's suing him.
Yeah, she's 26.
What country is that? The States?
It's the States. Yeah.
Okay. It's fucking the States.
Today's day and age, you can, honestly, if you guys are looking for a lawyer, shout out to our boy Iqbal Sandhu.
Iqbal? My Iqbal? I think he's going to be on the podcast.
He's going to be on the podcast next. Yeah. We got him on the podcast next week.
Again, I haven't spoken to Iqbal for a very long time.
You guys sent me a picture on Saturday.
He's one of those guys that you meet everyone. He's a good friend.
Yeah.
He's a good like-minded people. It's important to be around like-minded people.
I think that's the thing. I think that, it's brought me back to my element and all of us to have conversations. Yeah. Shoot the shit. I usually have my phone when I'm here. Yeah. I decided intentionally this time to put it away because I realized one thing is I'm caught between recording a little snippet, and that takes away from my full 100% commitment and concentration sometimes from the conversation.
Yeah.
That's a little observation that I made and
About yourself, self-reflection.
about myself.
So
yeah,
important.
yeah. So I decided now that I either can hire an assistant
Yeah.
or just put my phone away.
Put your phone away.
And then I'm like, all right.
And I'm battling that too. And I think everybody is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's so addictive. We're against a force. We're against a force greater than we've ever come across when it comes to our phones.
Yeah. Do you think
Right?
you can go without having your phone for 30 days? Would you be able to do a digital detox?
I think I would. Yeah, 100%. I can do it. I've acknowledged that there's a problem. I have a problem with it, and it's not like I'm on my phone all the time. At all. But I know that if there's something that is like, if I was to smoke cigarettes, for instance, right, which I don't, but if I was to smoke cigarettes, I would know, okay, every day I got to have a cigarette with my coffee. I don't like anything that makes me do it. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a force pulling me to do something, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right now, the phone's like that. It might not hurt my body like smoking would,
Right.
but I feel like it's hurting some social aspects.
Yeah.
With my kids, with my family. When I'm on the fucking phone, I was at we were at somewhere in the summer, and we're all together in the backyard at my parents' house, and everybody's on the goddamn phone.
Yeah.
I remember looking up, and I was like, okay, we gotta put the fucking phone down.
Yeah.
Right.
That should be a rule, man. Like dinner parties.
It's a cancer, man.
Like let's say you throw like a backyard dinner party or a barbecue.
Yeah.
You have a little bowl at the front.
Yeah.
With
Put
the
it in there.
label. Put your phone in here.
Yeah.
No phones allowed.
Yeah.
I think the big part of social interaction that is different in the 80s and 90s compared to today is you do spend maybe 40, 50, and by the way, this is a random percentage, but 40, 50%
Sounds good.
on your
numbers to me.
phone
Good
while you're in a social setting.
Yeah.
Think about the level of interaction if you were to just prohibit phones, period. And the people you can talk to, meet with. You know, when we talked about memories, we get so caught behind taking pictures in that moment. Oh, take a picture of me, it's a birthday party or this and that. Just be in that moment and truly take it in. Take in what you're seeing, what you're feeling, who's around you, what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Because when you look back at those moments and you can truly relive that versus just taking a half-assed picture and expecting to feel all of that from that picture.
How many times you gone to a concert and then everyone in front of you?
Dude, I'm guilty for that,
All
man.
you see is the light because you want to post it because you're not watching it, right? Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're young and you're single and you want to do what Benny just said, you go to a party. Everyone puts their phone into a bowl, and you have a party and you have fun. And on the way out, you reach into that bowl, and whatever phone you pull out, you take that person home. They used to do it in the 80s.
Yeah?
Yeah, fuck it. They probably still do it.
Are you sure? I thought that's an
It's
amazing
like a
game.
swinger party. or
It's a
some
swinger
shit like
party.
that. Yeah. My problem is I go to parties with old dudes. I'm not playing that fucking game. I'm not playing the game. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I'm not playing hairy Indian guys.
A couple of years ago, I used to do. I used to organize a 12 pubs of Christmas, and
We were supposed to go to that. Remember? But one of our groups is shit.
well, you came one year, no?
Probably.
You did come one year, yeah. So I've been doing it for the last 4 years. Last year was the first year I didn't.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it for 4 years. It's called the 12 Pubs of Christmas.
Yeah.
So this time of the year, actually, the next 1 or 2 weeks, we would guys would get together. It's before I had this condo.
Sweaters and ugly sweaters and shit like that.
It's like ugly Christmas sweaters, and you would show up with a Santa cap.
Yeah.
We'd hit 12 pubs. We start at Young and Bloor right by Firkin.
Yeah.
You got 20 minutes to chug a pint.
Fuck, I miss it.
You chug a pint, you move on to the next bar. You have 20 minutes,
I miss it.
right? And here's the thing that made it interesting. I remember when I did that, I was like, all right, guys, I'm going to do 12 pubs. I printed out a rule sheet, a general rule sheet, and a specific rule sheet. General rules are you can't pee.
I remember. You can't piss. You can't take a piss.
You can't
I remember.
take a piss at
yeah.
even number pubs. You can't.
Which is awful.
Which is awful. Buddy system was a big one.
Yeah.
Can't leave your buddy behind. But then there were specific pub rules. So pub number 1,
Have a shot or something.
you can only drink with your left hand.
Yeah.
Pub number 2, you can only talk with the opposite sex. Pub
Yeah.
number 3, take a selfie with a stranger. How fun was
Amazing.
Those fucking
I miss
moments,
it.
man. We
Yeah.
had the blast. In the beginning, when I explained the game, all the guys were like, "What the fuck? It's too much thinking."
Oh, we don't want to do it. We're
don't wanna
dudes.
do-
This is
Why
shit.
not-
We just want to go there and drink and
Yeah,
fart.
why don't we just stay at one? Why don't we stay at one bar
No.
and just
Yeah.
drink? Why the
But
fuck
then
are
when
we?
you do it, everyone loves it.
We're 3 pubs in, and girl Paul, people are hugging me like,
Oh,
"Oh, this
yeah,
is the
it's
best game
greatest
ever,"
idea,
and
yeah.
it became an idea. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Fuck, why not?" But man, those were. I remember we got so smashed.
Well, when
I-
when I came up here, you said that I've never been to your apartment.
I think that was.
You was like, you've never been to my apartment. I was like, dude, I've been to your apartment a couple of times, but it's always at like 2, 3 in the morning, right? We're stumbling in here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't remember you being here, because like those were the years when we would have so much fun and drink
Yeah.
and stuff. And I remember, dude, everyone was done at like pub number 7. We were at Maddie's. We were like, fuck it, we're gonna stay here. We're at Maddie's. Why not?
We're not moving anymore.
I'm so determined to win. It was at like fucking, what was it called on Queen West? Our Furniture Warehouse. Dude, it's like 3 in the morning. Bars close at 2. I'm there trying to order a pint, and I'm like to the dude, I'm like, hey, can I get a pint? He's like, dude, 2 a.m. last call. It was like 2:20 or something. I'm trying to give the guy $100.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have this competition.
Coming in.
I need to win.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, nah, no chance. Didn't give me anything. I find out you guys were fucking long done. I was on my solo little adventure for the last 4 pubs.
I blank out a lot of those way earlier than everybody else. I'm gone doing whatever. I'm
Yeah,
doing.
I can't drink like that anymore, man.
I'm like a shooting star. I'm there. I'm flying. I'm blowing. I'm doing everything, and then I'm gone.
yeah. Do you feel like your level of drinking has deteriorated from?
No. The problem is the back end. It's the
Okay.
back end.
Right.
Is that I'll party all night long.
Right.
Right. But the back end is that I'm down for 2-3 days. Right.
Yeah, it's like a week for me, man. If I drink that level,
Yeah.
it's a week for me. I get hungover after like 3-4 beers.
I found the last 2 years this has been I try not to do those benders anymore.
Right,
It's because of health wise for myself, and also is that I know 2-3 days is 2-3 days of me not being like a good dad.
Yeah.
Me like lying around and being groggy and all that.
Yeah.
And it's unfair for my kids. So
Of course.
I try to keep those very limited.
Right.
Yeah.
Has there been anything new that you learned this year, 2020? Any epiphanies? You know, you're a wise guy.
I'm not a wise guy.
You're a wise guy. You always shed wisdom. But is there anything this year that kind of surprised you, took you off guard? Kind of
No,
something?
I think in the summer I broke my finger. So last time we met, I've always worked out. I broke my finger.
Which finger?
It's this one right there. It's my middle finger. It's on my left hand side of my middle finger.
What the fuck did you do?
I went by my parents' house and they were putting up a fence. They own it's up in farm country over in Caledon, and they're putting up a fence. And as I went there, what they did is they had a sledgehammer and they're smashing down these. It's like a T. It's a T bolt. It's a T. They're slashing down these posts for a fence. It's a metal post. It's like 8 feet tall. And it's with a sledgehammer. And it's a little metal thing that you got to hit. And it's my dad, who's been shot a couple of times from his past, like shot with a gun. So his arm is half working. And then my brother. So
Your dad's been shot before?
yeah, we were in Rexdale. We had businesses, right?
Okay.
So my dad's got his hands not too great,
Right.
and then there's my brother, and it's a horrible setup,
Right.
right? So I was like, okay, let me help, all right? So I jump in there straight away. I grab the sledgehammer, and then I stand up on this little wooden stool, and I'm trying to hammer this metal pole that's 8 feet high, and I'm trying to hammer it with the sledgehammer.
Right.
Before I do it, I go to my brother. I was like, dude, this is the most bindu thing I've ever seen, and I said that to him. And we laughed, ha, ha, ha. And I started doing it. And what ended up happening is something slipped. The sledgehammer hit my finger. And I broke my finger. Right? It was absolutely painful. And
Yeah.
how you were laughing about your sister that hit her nose.
Right.
My brother was laughing as my finger's hanging off. I hit it with a sledgehammer.
Oh
right?
my God.
So
Was this Cam or?
no, it's my brother Taz.
Oh,
I don't know if
Taz.
you met him. So we had to go to the hospital. They stitched it back up and all that kind of stuff. And what I learned was this, is that I pride myself. I'm always working out. When the COVID happened and everybody was home, I was right on the workouts, didn't skip a beat. And I was like, nothing will stop me. Everybody was like, oh, I'm worried about not going to the gym. And I was like, all these people are worried about going to the gym. And me and you had this conversation. I was like, this is where you'll find out who's really true, who's really got that intestinal fortitude to do what they want to do. And I believed it, right? And I was on it. I broke my finger. I couldn't work out.
Right.
And then that week turned to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and my fingers slowly got, and then I got into a routine of not working out.
Right.
And it took about 2 months. It was all of a sudden it was 2 months, and now my fingers okay. I could probably still do cardio and stuff, but now I had kind of was going to work. I was in the routine of teaching the kids when they came back, and I wasn't working out. I didn't work out for 2 months. I wasn't working out. My diet slipped a little bit. My sugar went up, and then I lost a bunch of weight. Right.
Yeah.
And that happens when my sugar goes up. I lose a bunch of weight. All this thing kind of stemmed in the summer, and then it was a big humble pie for me, because all of a sudden, from going from 2 years ago, I was 235 pounds, and I was jacked. I don't know you back then, and if you guys remember, I was huge, and not in like a heavy set with a pot belly, but
muscular. Yeah.
I was a correctional officer, right? And then from there, and then 2 years now, this summer, I was 175 pounds. And I went around, and my clothes weren't fitting me and all that kind of stuff, because when my blood sugar goes up, I drop weight, right? And I was really not happy with my body. I looked at myself at one point, and it happens really quick. I remember looking at myself like, oh, fuck, what has happened to me, right? And how fragile the body is and how fragile the mind is. And I portray this whole confidence thing and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of, you played yourself, fool, right? It's one of those moments, right? You spoke a lot. You spoke a big game, being all this shit, and then you just fell into this. And anyone can fall into that, and I've realized that. And that's my big epiphany: and I'm super confident. I piss in the wind all the time. I write checks that my body can't cash all the time because I'm just confident, dude. Right. But I'm fragile in the sense that I'm just fucking human like everybody else. It's good to be a savage and all that shit, but you got to take care of your body and you got to take care of your mind. Yeah. I wasn't depressed. And the only time I was depressed, I felt this depression come in is remember looking at myself and thinking, how am I going to get back up? Now I'm 175 because I didn't weigh myself for fucking like 6-7 weeks. And then all of a sudden I'm 175. I've lost 15 pounds. Yeah. And then it was like, oh, I'm not happy with my body. I'm not happy with the way I look. I feel uncomfortable. And all these negative thoughts came back into my body that I haven't felt in like decades. Yeah. And I had to really have a gut check with myself. And then I obviously started working out and monitoring all my blood sugars and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that was mine, is that I realized how fragile I am. And I already knew that from getting diabetes 2.5 years ago. But this is the first time that it was at this magnitude. Yeah.
Sometimes like we get so caught up in our high moments where like we're happy and we're content and we're living our best lives and we're the best version of ourselves and life is good. But in those moments, I think you always need to, and it's hard to do. It's easier to say now when you've hit your lows. Oh yeah. It's always good to kind of remind yourself that the lows will come and lows will be there.
They're so important.
This is why you need to really appreciate and embrace the highs that much more.
So important.
Because sometimes what happens is we're in our highs and we forget what it feels like to be low. Yeah. And then when we're in our lows, we wish we were back at our highs. Yeah. So you're right. It's a psychological, I think it's psychological maturity, man. Yeah. You know, we talk about emotional maturity all the time, but I think there's a level of a bigger appreciation of where you are in life. And also like when you do fall down, like, so you were saying I was complimenting you, man. I was like, dude, you're looking good.
I've been working out every day. Yeah, and I'm slowly getting back to what I was at 184. I watch my weight nonstop. I'm watching what I eat. I'm on like a keto diet and all that.
What's your diet like now?
Well, I was doing. It was there was a multifaceted problem with what happened. I lost my finger. My finger was broken. I couldn't work out in that sense. Right. I was doing this whole COVID shit. The kids are at home. I couldn't go to the gym. The gym's closed. A lot of the stuff I do is like intermittent training and all that kind of stuff, push-ups. I couldn't do any of that. I kept intermittent fasting. I've been doing that for years. It helped my blood sugar out. But now,
are you religious with that? Like, do you take any days?
I was pretty good. No, I've been pretty good for the last couple of years.
What's your window?
Not anymore. I don't do it anymore. Okay. But it used to be I'd be done eating at like 8 o'clock and I wouldn't eat the next day till like 1 o'clock. Okay. Right? And I'd eat doing that and I'd eat a lot, but I don't do that anymore. Right. Now it's small meals throughout the day because I'm trying to gain some weight back. Okay. And I found that it kind of helps my blood sugar a lot more, especially when I do like no carbs. Right. I eat a lot meat and vegetables and all that kind of shit. And vegetables, I eat a lot of vegetables.
Shout out to Amnibola.
Yeah, but yeah, I do. And I eat sometimes more vegetables than I eat meat, right? But I have to eat. I wake up, I have breakfast, I have like a yogurt or a Greek yogurt and shit like that. And
I intermittent fast right now. Yeah. Because of the holiday season. Yeah. I've been taking a little bit of backseat.
Yeah. Fuck it.
I'm like, not even that, just because like I'm like, I know I can lose weight really quickly.
Now.
I think I want to gain weight a little bit now.
Yeah.
I want to get, like, usually I'm weighing at like 180, 175.
That's good.
I want to hit about like 190 and then rip down to 175. Like
Balkan season.
February,
As long
March.
as you want to rip down, don't just get to 190 and you don't rip down. Next thing you know, it's 210.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that's where, like, it's important for me to, you set yourself up, set those goals.
Yeah.
You'll do it. I worked out today, man. I worked out. I love the kettlebell. That's been my go-to.
And your boxing looks really crisp too.
Appreciate
I've
it.
seen your shadow.
Big
boxing
shout
and all
out
that
to
kind of
David
stuff.
Kim and Hellman. Yeah, it's like it's different behind like a computer.
You watch the Tyson fight?
I did.
How was that?
Yeah, my honest opinion. So I came in with a certain vision of how the fight was going to play out.
Okay.
And the envision that I had in my head was a dog fight.
Yeah.
Two old guys training so hard, seeing the promo of Tyson training for that fight, seeing him lose almost 100 pounds in the short amount of time that he did. I'm like, this guy is coming to destroy. When I was watching that fight, it was so obvious that Tyson was holding back.
You think so?
Tyson was holding back. Tyson could have destroyed. If Tyson went at 100%, fight would have been over, I think, at round
You think so?
5, 6. Roy Jones, don't get me wrong, like, Roy Jones Jr. is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think the level of training that Tyson did for this fight compared to Roy, I think this is just my thoughts. I think part of the contract was, that's why they already announced prior to the fight there's no winner.
No, I think they said, and when I watched it, and I watched Tyson my entire life.
Right.
I remember my dad. I'm 38 years old. My dad used to take me to the pub to watch Tyson. We're going back like early, right?
Right.
I used to go with my brothers and all that. I'm a huge fan. And just to watch him come back and the whole story of the up and downs and all that kind of stuff. When I watched it, I saw moments of excellence. I think you're dealing with a 55-year-old man.
Yeah.
And you're dealing on the other side as an also, what is he, 50 years old? But they're world-class boxers.
Right.
Right?
No, this is a great fight. Don't get me wrong.
I enjoyed every fucking minute of it. I thought he put it in, and they get tired. That's why he had 2-minute rounds.
I think the expectation that I had was different because I didn't really educate myself in terms of what kind of fight it was going to be, because I think they both realized that they weren't going to hurt each other. That was a part of the
I
contract.
think they try to hurt you.
You think so?
Tyson makes people fucking piss blood.
Yeah.
Right? You're telling them he's ripping those body shots.
Yeah.
They're trying to fucking knock each other out. These are real competitors.
Do you think you tried to knock each other
Damn
out?
fucking right I do. They're competitors. If me and you were to play chess right now,
Right.
and I'm a competitor, don't fuck around. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a competitor.
Right.
I'm trying to kill you. I'm trying to beat you. I'm not even one close to that fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like those dudes are some next level stuff. They're not doing anything if they're not trying to win. I guarantee you that any competitor that I know would never put anything on the line if he's not trying to win.
But then that's what I was expecting. But when I found out that the rule was that there's no winner.
No, but they
Like,
had
that was the rule.
But
Yeah.
they had to do that to get sanctioned, because it was an exhibition. Because you can't sanction two guys that are fucking 55 years old that haven't boxed in who fucking knows how long. That was
Okay.
just a general rule. But you can still have knockouts and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
They just can't. They can't sanction them.
I see.
Right. That's why you had the big glove and all that. Oh, there's going to be no winner. It's an exhibition. These motherfuckers are trying to kill each other.
You know the one thing about that fight, I must say? I was jamming with my dad in my living room.
Yeah.
The concerts that were happening between every fight was fucking great.
That's awesome.
Like the level of production that they put into like every single performance, whether it was
Snoop Dogg and all that kind of
killed
shit.
it.
Yeah.
Who else was there? YG was there.
Did your dad like all the concerts? Or
Dude,
was it
I'm just grooving on the sofa. My dad was kind of chilling too. It was like,
How'd your dad like the fight?
he was good. It was
Yeah.
good. He enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a good father-son moment as well.
Excellent.
You know, I had buddies in Toronto. I'm sorry, in spite of the pandemic, we're doing a little gathering, whatnot.
That's disgusting.
But I was like, dude,
Next time, tell me when that happens.
I gotta snitches get stitches.
Oh, what a
But it was a good fight. I think the one surprise for the night was Nate Robinson,
yeah.
Jake Paul.
Was it a surprise that I don't know those guys too much. I guess the social media guys and all that kind of shit. But my understanding is that one guy's been training, the white dude's been training for a little bit.
Yeah, but I think the level of shit talking, I kind of expected Nate to be. The thing is, like, Nate was a little bit too forward. defense is just as important as offense.
100%.
You need to have that level of footwork. You need to be able to understand the rhythm of when you go in and when you come out.
It's a sweet science for a reason.
Yeah, and Nate was just constantly in, but it was never like it wasn't strategic at all in that.
And
sense.
who's the white guy? Logan, whatever his name is. And even him, I mean, you can tell it's amateur level.
It's his brother, Jake
Whatever
Paul.
it is.
But dude, speaking of Logan, what the
Mayweather,
Yeah.
love it.
Yo, it's all a bag. It's all to scare the bag at the end of the day.
I'm gonna tell you, Mayweather, put him down, fuck him up, kill him.
Yeah,
But
he needs to be humbled.
But here's the thing, it's a fight. So is there a chance that he can get knocked out? Nobody in their right mind that understands any type of violence can say that Logan guy cannot win.
Yeah,
He can win.
Yeah,
Damn right he can win. Will he win? No way.
Yeah,
Right?
Well, he said that he's like, if I hit him with a right hook.
Yeah, you
I'll
don't
knock-
always say that.
But the answer is, well, if you hit him, you know what I mean? If you hit him,
You don't think that fucking Mayweather's ever taken a punch?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out
Yeah.
of here. I can't. That's one thing. Listen, I just love violence. And I said it too, is I don't care if fucking Tyson. I just want to see someone die.
Yeah.
I love violence. Let these old bastards fight. Let me see some death.
yeah. I feel like you can't really appreciate boxing until you box a little bit yourself.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize like fucking 3-minute rounds and a minute of bag work at full speed and full power
Yeah.
will destroy your shoulders. I can only imagine 3-minute rounds, 12 rounds.
Yeah.
And the level of like how much
And
power.
all the intricacies of what they're taking in. There's a lot of input and output that they're taking in mentally, right?
Yeah, like-
certain movements and all that kind of stuff and distance. So there's a lot of I remember watching years ago, and I said the most arrogant thing to someone that was watching UFC, and I've trained martial arts.
Right.
So you're watching UFC.
By the way, guys, he's a black belt.
So I was watching UFC, and somebody said once, something about a fight. And I was like, you know what? I don't value your opinion. I was sitting around, a lot of people around. I was like, you know what? Have you ever trained? Like, no. I was like, I don't value your fucking opinion based on, and I might have had a couple of drinks. And now years later, I'm like, oh, I should never have said that because their opinion matters. But to what you said, unless you've really done it and you don't understand the intricacies, you might not really get some of the things that are going on.
Yeah, that's
Right?
fair. That's
a lot
fair.
of people that watch the Tyson fight on my feed, and I have family members that were on WhatsApp and stuff. They're like, "Oh, it was a boring fight," or they weren't doing this, or they weren't doing that, or they're not going to really try to knock somebody out. No, they're fucking competitors. I'm telling you that. If me and you, Sonny, just right now started paying beer bong, if I lose, I'm going to tell you I'm going to be sad.
Yeah.
And I'm not even close to the competitor that
I have
Tyson
ping pong
is.
tables. You want to play?
I'll fucking kill you.
I'm down.
I'll kill
like,
you.
Don't care. We can record while we're doing it.
Listen, I'll kill you. But
I think you're right. I think competitive instincts is something that can never be tamed.
no,
You think
and
it'd
you
be
have
them?
it too. You have it too. Hopefully not, because I think I'm not so successful. But I'm successful in a lot of things I do is because I have that. And some
Yeah.
people, and it's not ego. Here's the thing: sometimes people are like, "Oh, your ego." It's not ego, because I swear to God, once you be in certain situations, I have a white belt mentality.
Right.
Is I'm always a white belt. Is that I always want to learn, right? But I'm also want to win. I want to be I want to learn how to win. I love the process of winning, right? And whatever that is.
Right.
I just don't want. But that's the white belt mentality. That I'm always learning. I'm
Right.
coming into the mats humble,
Right.
but I'm going to try to kill you.
Yeah.
Right?
You
Yeah.
have to. I love that. White belt versus black belt.
White belt, but it's white. It's like the Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality was what? Oh, what's the Mamba mentality?
Well, the moment mentality at the end of the day is you go in to kill.
You go in to kill.
You go in to kill no
Yeah.
matter what. And if you can't kill the first time, you figure out
Exactly.
your game.
Yeah.
No matter like if it
And
means
you come back.
shooting baskets for 24 hours, 7 days straight.
Yeah.
You come back and
I'm
you
going to
kill.
win. That's
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
the white belt mentality would be, I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I want to learn. Like you learn too. Like look at this setup right here. That's a white belt. You have a white belt mentality, right? When it comes to the podcast and all that kind of shit, because you wanted to learn,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like, and you've seen me in all three. If you think about it, you're the only guest to see me in all three environments.
Yeah, it's awesome that you had
Like,
me come back.
The first studio where we rented a studio space over at Queen and John,
Yeah.
to online Zoom, to now here.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with you. I think that you need to be a humble killer.
Humble
Tell me.
killer.
Right.
I like that.
You got to be a humble
Yeah.
assassin. You gotta give 100% into anything that you do, because at the end of the day, I think that's the one thing about life is you never want to be in a situation and be like, I could have done this. I could have done that because I'm like that today. I think about here's a classic example. Finances with anybody. I guarantee you, everyone, whoever you are, they're probably thinking that, okay, I wish I went back in time and did this or I did that, or I wish I was able to do this. Common example, if let's say at the age of 20, you deposited $50 every 2 weeks for 10 years straight, right? And then you lock that into an account. I think the statistics was like it's close to $1 million compounded by the time you're 60. So if you do $50 every 2 weeks up until 30, you lock that in, growing at 5%. It's $1 million, right? At the age of 30.
Oh shit.
And if it's like,
is that what it is?
I think so.
You just made that number.
No, I swear to God, I saw this.
I don't know
I
about that.
did, man. Okay.
This guy's doing the same math for the fucking COVID numbers.
Fuck you. But the point is, it's like investing 101.
Oh
right?
yeah.
No, by the way, I swear to God, that's what the numbers are. I'm gonna double check the numbers.
I just saw a post. Someone's like, if you invested $750 in shoes or Tesla stocks like 5 years ago, your shoes are not worth nothing, but your Tesla stocks were worth like 10 G's or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, the point is like we always look at decisions and we think, oh, I could have done this, should have done that, but that should be your lesson that you can do it today.
Yeah.
Right. If you feel like you weren't the best person with money, or if you feel like maybe you weren't the best partner, let's say, or you weren't the best academic, or you weren't the best student, whatever the case is, master from your past so that you can become a master of today going into the future.
100%.
Right. This podcast was an example, man. There's so many times when I was like, why am I doing this? You don't make no money off of this.
Yeah.
This is literally a passion hobby. And it was not until recently I started thinking and I started seeing my peers in the podcast game. By the way, the people that don't know, Roop has his own podcast.
Yeah.
And
well, here's the thing, and we haven't done it because of the pandemic. And Rob Mancini, I mean, he hounds me all the time.
Do you love that little touch over there?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And Rob Mancini and we had Fire in the Hole podcast, and this is something that I was so
shout out to Rob, by the way.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Awesome guy.
He's a fantastic dude. I look at him as a mentor. He's hilarious. It's one of those things where one of the reasons I wanted to step back from it a little bit was, and now I'm revisiting this, and you always have to revisit some certain things, is on my podcast, it's a comedy podcast, and we talk a lot about funny shit and stuff that might be uncomfortable, but we're always coming from a good point of view, right? And I'm pretty humble with a lot of things. But in today's culture, when we have this cancel culture going on, you have to always be careful with what certain people might perceive. And what ended up happening as being like a negative, as a negative with cancel culture and certain topics that we had might have, I was always kind of uncomfortable with how it might have been portrayed on like certain platforms.
Right.
If someone complains about it. But I'm never coming from like a negative way to do anything. It's comedy. To me, comedy is comedy.
Right.
Right? We're not trying to hurt anybody. So I had to ask myself, is that, do I really give a shit what certain people might say if I'm just trying to be funny or be myself? And at no point am I trying to hurt anybody, right? If we're talking about...
Was that ever a concern that at one point where you're
like,
okay,
I think I was just being oversensitive when I'm in the public sector.
Right.
I'm not in the private sector. So if somebody complains now about something, it can go up the chain.
Right.
And I never want something in my past to come back and hurt something, because in the end, that's my family. It's my livelihood. And you never know where life's going to go. I don't know. So it's something that we're going to come back to.
So where's the podcast now?
The podcast is on hold. It's been on hold for some time, and COVID came in. Right. COVID came into the picture. I think that we're going to go back to it. Right. I like this setup that you have here. Rob's moving out into Tottenham. He wanted to get away from Indians. And so he's moving to Tottenham.
Where the fuck is Tottenham?
Tottenham is north of Brampton.
Okay.
He wants to get away from Indians. But this fucking Tottenham, they don't even have clean water over there. You can't drink water in Tottenham. You can't turn on your water tap.
Is that like beyond Caledon?
It's right north of that, north of Bolton.
Okay.
You cannot turn your tap on and drink the water. He wants to get away from Indians, but he moved to fucking India. You can't drink the water.
Rob, man.
You fucking
Is
dummy.
it too late too late for him to come back?
Nah,
or?
yeah, no, he's gone. I'm thinking about moving out there too, Chad.
Yeah. You see yourself like,
It's one of the things when white people move somewhere.
Yeah.
If you're an Indian, move there too. Move there too. And then what's important is, and he hates this, is go around and you know how we normally used to go when we were younger, put roti, right? You have an old roti. I used to go, and I used to put it on like the pavement so the birds came and ate it. Did you ever do that?
Yeah.
Right? Rob hates that. Rob would walk around his fucking neighborhood and he would post about it on Facebook and shit. And he'd be like, oh, these fucking Indians putting crackers everywhere.
I swear, did he post something on Facebook?
Always. I'm like, listen, fucker, they're karma crackers, right? So what I did one day is I went by his house when no one was around and I put crackers on his doorstep. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel about Brampton? You think it's like, do you see
love
yourself?
it.
You see yourself there?
No, I don't. I love Brampton. I've moved around so much that
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in England. I was born in England. And then from England, we moved over.
Yeah, me. You have that? Do you still have a little bit of English accent, or what's your best English impression?
I don't really have one.
No?
I don't know. It's tough to put me on the spot. Yeah, it's tough. And it's interesting when we were just talking about like racism and all that kind of stuff.
It just came in right
Did
now.
I?
This is talking about.
One of the reasons we left England, we were up in Newcastle, with the northeast, is Northumberland, is we had our windows broken every day.
Okay.
Right?
How old are you when you came back
Like
to Canada?
10 years old.
Okay.
Right. So I suffered from racism. It's a mining town.
Right.
We deal with racism. And I think if you're brown, you deal with racism, right?
Yeah.
And then we moved from here, we went to Maple, then St. Catharines, and then from St. Catharines to Toronto and Rexdale and all that stuff. So I've seen the gambit. I love Canada. I love Ontario. I love the people. But Brampton's full of fucking refs, isn't it? Yeah.
I think a lot more now than like any other year.
And I love it. I went to Tandoori King the other day, and I ate the food and all that kind of stuff. But the older I get,
Yeah.
is I've realized what I want.
Okay.
And there's something innately in me that just wants to be away from people. I love to garden. I'm a farmer. My blood's a farmer.
Right.
I can be outside in my garden all day long. I got a house. I got a big garden, and I grow a lot of shit. I just brought a whole bunch of stuff over to Benny. I want to be away, and my parents own a little farm area up there. I like my hands in the soil.
Right.
It's innately in my body. And I think I want to move. I'm looking for another career shift to move up north a little bit.
What about like the rest of your family? Like, how do you see that would probably be like a big part of that decision, right? Like,
Yeah,
depending on where you move.
But fuck. I'm not saying like I'm moving like 4 hours north of Ontario, even
Yeah.
if half an hour north, right? I
Right.
don't want to be around people anymore.
Yeah.
I don't mind going. I work in the city, so I don't mind here. But in my
You think
own personal
2020 had a big thing to do with that? Like in terms of not being around
No,
people?
this is something that's just been burning in me for a while. I just need to set it up for me.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys can work from home.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I was working in jail, or I've been working like at the courthouse or Ministry of Attorney General, and now in the city of Toronto. I want something that I can work more remotely.
Right.
And it's tough to do that in enforcement.
Right. I think, yeah, for anybody that's interested in learning about Roop's experience in corrections, there's an episode that we did way back in March. So
Yeah.
just check that out. Where do you see yourself, like career-wise? Like, what's your biggest...
I look at my skill.
Because you moved around quite a bit. You know, you were in the court system.
My
you
skill
were-
set's in investigations.
Okay.
I'm a great enforcement,
Right.
but I'm a really good investigator. So, and I mean, dealing with the skill set that I have, I think that there's some things that I can do provincial wise, or maybe even staying in the city. I'm
Right.
unsure. And I never worry about it too much.
Right.
I don't worry about what I'm going to do because I know I'm going to be good at whatever I do.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just that Mamba.
Wipeout mentality.
Or the
Right.
Mamba,
Or
right?
the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I see you as? I see you as being a bounty hunter if you were in the States.
Get the fuck. If it was in the States, I'd fuck
Dude,
people
you
up.
would have your own agency,
That's
bounty
it.
hunters.
Yeah, I'll fucking
Makes-
do it. Dog the bounty hunter, love that guy with a mullet.
Yeah, yo,
Yeah.
I actually can see you as a bounty hunter.
I'd fucking do it.
I think you'd kill it.
I'd fuck people up.
So that's legal in the States.
You can't do that here.
You can't do that here, right?
No, we don't have bounties over here. No. Canada's soft. We don't have bounties, which is good.
Yeah. But you have had some pretty interesting experiences working for insurance companies, right? Like when
Major insurance fraud investigator. That's where I got my investigation experience from, and doing undercover work.
any
and all that
juicy
kind of
stories.
stuff.
What's the biggest memory you have when it came to that? Like anything fucked up? Like, or was it naturally just whatever you expect?
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. I remember I went under. It's tough. Or whatever. I went undercover this while there was an investigation going on. Had a logistics company, and there was major theft going on. I had to go undercover, go through the entire process, pretend I was a worker, go through HR, get hired on. I was a forklift driver and different name and all that kind of stuff. I got into this game that these guys used to play in lunch, and they were like triads. They were part of the triad organization in the city of Toronto.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And my fucking picture's not going to be up on here, is it?
No.
Okay.
I won't.
Anyway.
I won't put it up.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter now. Ha ha. So
It's a bounty hunter coming after you, bro.
I remember reporting a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And then here's the thing: when you deal with people that aren't professional, somehow it got back to some people in that organization that there was like a mole, right?
Okay.
And he was reporting back to upper management, and we're talking about theft of like $150,000 of product that was going on. I figured out exactly how they were doing it, painted the picture and everything. Somehow a report got out that someone in upper management for that facility found out. And on one night that I came to work, he had told the members of this organization. One guy came up to me that I was pretty close with, and he was like, dude, they know you're the fucking dude. And you're not leaving here tonight, right? I was like, cool, man. Mm-hmm. Fuck you, I'm not the guy. Had that argument that you would have with somebody if someone accused you of something. Yeah. I got on my forklift, and I went to the back of the warehouse there, and then I fucking left. Right?
Like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Well,
were you scared? Were you like, what were you feeling in the moment? Like,
no, it was just like, no, I wasn't scared.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't scared. It was just, it's just, some things are just natural, right? I'm not scared of physical shit.
Right.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
Right? I'll deal with it. I always have a weapon on me of some sort, like even right now.
Right.
Right?
By the way, guys, don't challenge him to like any sort of wrestling match. You're gonna end up with a neck that still hurts years later.
We were drunk. We shouldn't have been doing it, playing ass grab. But it was more, I was disappointed in the organization, and the organization let me down by somebody being incompetent and letting that information out. I can rely on myself. I can do what I want to do, and I can be professional in certain ways. But when you have other players involved, they can always fuck you around. I've never liked team sports.
Yeah.
I don't like team sports for that reason.
Right.
I like martial arts. I do jiu-jitsu, and I like or certain competitions like that, and judo and all that kind of shit. But when you deal with a team, and I love team sports, I love being a team member, I'm not saying that, but we're relying on somebody else, and somebody else can fuck up something for you. I don't like that aspect of it.
That's so true.
If I fuck up, I want to rely on myself, and if I messed up, it's on me. Everything's on me.
So how'd you do when it came to like group assignments, like in school and stuff?
Well, how does it go on group assignments? There's some asshole that doesn't do something, and there's someone who, you know what I mean? And,
that does all the work.
That's the issue with that.
Yeah.
Right? There's always that aspect of it.
That's so true. Like you have the one guy that does all the work, or most of the work.
Yeah.
And then that one, there's always that one guy in the group
Yeah.
that doesn't do shit.
I'm going to kid you now. I'm probably that guy.
It's also because you want to do shit, but the smart guys don't want to let you do shit.
That's fine.
Because like,
Yeah. All right, nerd. Have fun playing your Pokemon. You're the same guy. I'm the funny guy in the room. You're the guy that's going to do this shit by yourself.
Yeah, going back to that. Yeah, he's the smartest guy and you're the funny guy. But
I was always in between. I just don't like relying on anybody when it comes to
I think that's important, man. I totally get that. I think that you want to be. That's why it's really important to be the best version of yourself. So any deficiencies in yourself, try to find that. It's like when you play Call of Duty and you know arsenal of weapons. Let's say, you want to try to equip yourself with as many different things. Why do you think I'm doing all this different shit that I'm doing? I have a full-time job that pays me pretty well. Yeah, that I don't really talk about on this podcast. No one has. People tell me that, Sonny, how's podcasting? Yeah. But they ask me in a way that they think it's my full-time job.
Do they?
You think mortgages is my full-time job. No one really knows. You can find me on LinkedIn to find out what I really do, but it's not. And I think the part of that was because I wanted to make life interesting, and I continue to want to do that even in a relationship, because that's what life is all about. You got to pick and choose your battles. You got to find what intrigues you, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make money doing something that you find happiness from. Yeah.
You're one of those guys that are so smart that have a job that I've known you for years. But then you tell me what you do every once in a while and we talk about it. But I don't know what the fuck you do. You're one of those guys, right? I don't know what the fuck you do, right? Yeah. And you've told me a bunch of times, but I'm too dumb to know what you do.
And the reason of that, I have no need to tell people at the end of the day, because it's like, I think like even with this podcast, don't get me wrong, I have a commitment to this podcast. Yeah. You know, I hit 16 countries, 10,000 streams. I've went away from now this. I'm still adapting to it, because I think the most important audience for me is still today. Yeah. I want to remember that at the end of the day, as long as I have that perspective on the way I engage with my guest, I can make sure there's quality content that comes out. But at the same time, I now need to realize that, you know, there's people that kind of are entertained by this podcast and or even other podcasts. And so there's an expectation of making sure that what you deliver is not just the best, but also authentic. Authenticity is huge.
Huge.
Right. And that's why, like, coming into the new year, man, I want to look at how I can monetize this possibly, frankly speaking, because it is time and effort, right? Like,
what did you learn? You asked me that fucking question. What did you learn? What was your positive? What was your negative?
I think for me, you know, if I take a step back and I think about this year is probably the longest year for me. I feel like so many different things happen at the same time. Career-wise, personal life, and all that. I think
Hair color.
You know, one of the biggest things I did this year is, listen, I'm a guy that had a pretty, you know, I go to the barber every 2 weeks.
Hey, good looking dude.
You know what I mean? I get my fade, but never in a million years did I think that I would get a bald fade and get a buzz cut and then color my hair blonde.
Was it blonde? Yeah.
Right. I colored my hair in March.
Platinum or blonde?
Platinum blonde.
Yeah.
It was platinum blonde. I did it again actually a couple months ago. It's grown back, but it was going back to this whole idea that I wanted to that I've been embracing, is this idea of kind of being like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, right? Do something that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Do something that might make other people feel uncomfortable for you, because then what happens is then like, oh shit, you did it, I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it. I'm in 2020. I'm never going to be like, anytime I'm on webcam, I just put a dopey on or a hat on, whatever the case is with my
Did you
meetings.
have anybody say that they don't like it or anything like that?
Dude, I got a promotion while my hair was colored.
Oh, fuck.
You know what I mean? I went through a whole interview process, talking to managing directors with my hair colored. And I think the biggest thing that I learned about this year is, you know, we have this expectation that society is always judging us, right? But the most important critic in your life is literally the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
And you can either put yourself in a dark place or you can put yourself in a positive place, but that choice is yours. You know, you choose to be happy. Sometimes we dwell on the circumstances we're in. Oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have, you know, this, I don't have that. But when you think about, I don't have enough money for what? To buy a Lamborghini. For what? Like, ask yourself, for what? And ultimately you go into it. There's some sort of relationship with trying to please this perception of you, but it's not really coming down to you, right? And so I think I realized one thing this year is that at the core of everything that I do day to day, I got to ask myself, am I doing this for myself? Am I doing this for myself? And am I enjoying what I'm doing? And like, for example, Matsology that me and my girl just recently started, it's been a process. It's been great. Like, I'm enjoying it, but it's getting out of our comfort zone. It's doing something new. I don't need to. I have a full-time job. I do mortgages. I got this podcast. Why am I going to add a fourth thing to this? Why not?
Yeah.
You know, why not?
And it's funny is that I thought when you did that you were, it's one of those things where you're selling them and then you yourself, you order it from another company online and they give it to you and you put it out. I was like, this fucking guy, he's so fucking smart. But no, you got the paint and all that shit. You're doing it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still smart, but
no. But I mean, if it was me, I'd have like Patel from India do it. Right?
I mean, that's the plan, I guess. When you reach a scale where you have to get scalability.
Yeah.
But I think
this is awesome.
I think
love this.
This is a way, like, these are all hand painted.
Yeah. You do it yourself.
You do it yourself.
I've seen the paint.
He's seen the paint. He's seen at my place.
I think it's awesome.
You know, my girl paints as well at her place. We split up the workload. Because on the weekends, I'm like, I'm not really doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm either smoking weed, watching TV, chilling out.
Yeah.
Why not just add something else to it?
You're doing like super spreader events where you're going to all these COVID parties and spreading it. And
I don't know about that.
Yeah. But no, I think it looks great.
Yeah, man. I think awesome. that's the biggest takeaway this year. Step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, I got into a relationship this year, pretty serious. You know, and it just goes back to that same thing. Is like, you do you. Fuck what people think. Fuck what people say. Fuck what people are gonna. Oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. Because here's the thing: everything I've done up until this point, including this podcast, no one expected me to do. Mm-hmm. No one expected me to still do this a year from now. Mm-hmm. I'm still doing it. Right.
I see. It's funny you say that because I always thought this was a great platform for you. I think you have
Yeah.
a great voice. And even Rob said you have a great voice because you listen to some of your shit and you have a great voice to this, and you're always easy to talk to. Right?
Appreciate that, man.
Like I have a lot of friends, but there's some guys that we have a couple of drinks, but I love conversation. And every time we get together, we have great conversation.
Yeah, even off the mic. Like think about all the memories we've had.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the fun conversations happen off the mic. But I think it goes back to that. I think you got to be, it's not just even about my voice. It took me aback a little bit when people come to me, people that don't know me, that say, "Oh, shit, Sonny, like, you have a good voice or you have a good platform to have conversations." Podcasting is still an industry that is going to blow up. Mm. I think in a post-COVID world, as we're a little bit more socially isolated as well, it's a forum to kind of keep people connected. You might be vacuuming, you might be cleaning, you might be in the car driving, but if you're participating in another conversation, there's an element of being in a room full of people. Mm-hmm. That's why, shout out to my fellow podcasters. You got Coach's podcast from BC. You got the Diatribe podcast with Pearly, Pal's podcast. Even are you guys going to do a rebound or what?
Yeah, we're coming back. Do you know Frequency and Friends?
Yeah, I know Frequency.
Yeah,
of course.
Kultar, right?
We went to Kultar. Yeah, we went to Kultar and KSR and Jay Stanek and those guys.
He just had a fantastic one with the Indian guy that's on the fucking
Sultaj or something.
Yeah,
the comedy guy, right?
No. He had the guy that does Hockey Canada, and they talked.
Parminder.
Yeah, they talked about.
I didn't see that. No.
It was like on live or something like that, and they talked about what's going on over.
Well, shout out to those guys, man. They've been showing me support and love as well. There's people's community as well that I've been following. Mm-hmm. The point is like this isn't a competition.
No.
I think everyone needs to continue doing them. I want to continue to support as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing I learned as well this year, that this isn't about me taking a breadcrumb off of your plate.
No,
it's not. It's at the end of the day, we should be cooking and stirring so much that we are able to reorder the same meal or different meals every single time.
Yeah.
And I think going into the new year, I think I want to increase the quality of my podcast. Got a lot of guests lined up, but I also want to try to, I'm not going to lie, man's got bills to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's time is money, right? And that's one thing that Mattology has taught me, that I can easily start thinking about how I can monetize this a little bit. You know what I mean?
And then that little side hustle that goes to anybody. Like you work your 8 hours or wherever you work, but there's always more that you can do within that time frame of 24 hours. Think of what else you can do. My wife's a pharmacist. She's a fucking pharmacist.
Right.
She's a manager at a pharmacy. Mm-hmm. Right. She's smart as shit. Mm-hmm. She started this baking thing.
Oh, right? No way.
She does baking. She's always been a good baker.
This is a good time to throw a plug. Does she have an Instagram handle or?
My God. Her name is Sweet Sacks. Yeah, Sweet Sacks. She makes all these like Barfies and this and that. And
a
whole bunch of stuff. And she's super busy. She doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fucking diabetic.
Right.
It doesn't help me out. She's trying to kill me, I think.
Were you the guinea pig testing all the sweets?
Yeah,
is that where
that's where I lost all that fucking weight. That's where my blood sugar spiked. Yeah. No, but my point is, like, that's her passion. Yeah. I think if she wasn't a pharmacist, she'd probably be a baker. She's so good at it.
Yeah.
But you do things that you like because life's too fucking short.
I think I am bang on. Like, I think there's 3 things, like, or 4 actually. You gotta obviously pay your bills.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta do something creative.
Yeah.
Right. And try to do something creative that eventually will make you money.
Yeah.
And 3, health and fitness. Right.
Yeah.
Is very important. Right. And I think with this 3, these are like the 3 very important hats for me.
Yeah.
And the 4th one is a side hustle. Your 9 to 5 is always, doesn't matter if you're an analyst, if you're a manager, however high you go up that corporate ladder or that business ladder, your 9 to 5 is always just going to pay your bills. Mm-hmm. It's your side hustle that's going to give you a little bit of leeway to make some sort of wealth, make that portfolio, and if you can have multiple side hustles, why the fuck not?
I think someone told me this years ago. It was a doctor that I went to go see because I had to go for knee surgery. I was at a competition in Ji-Jitsui and someone ripped my knee. My meniscus, I tore my meniscus. I had a severe tear. So I had to go for surgery. And the doctor said to me, he goes, do you get paid for jiu-jitsu? I was like, no, I don't get fucking paid for jiu-jitsu. He's like, well, I don't do anything that doesn't make me money.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, I was like, oh, fuck it. I was like, I can't have this surgeon work on me.
Right.
Because you don't understand what I go through, because there's a lot of things I do that don't make me money,
Yeah.
but I love it for the sake of loving it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. It's good to have a side hustle and all that kind of stuff, but there's some things that have intrinsic value.
Right.
That don't have to make you money. Life's not all about that. So if you want to go and you want to do 8 hours, and that 8 hours pays for fucking some bullshit that you got to do. For me, it might be like walking a dog or buying a dog and pet food, or training in the martial art, or whatever the fuck you want to do. I don't know what you want to do. Do it.
Yeah.
Because life's too short to sit on your fucking couch with Cheeto fingers watching fucking Netflix.
That the thing is, like, you're totally, money isn't everything. When you die and you're going to go into a casket, when that happens, money's not going to go with you to heaven or hell if you believe in the afterlife,
But
right?
do something productive.
But money is something that channels your productivity.
Yeah.
But like, people ask me, why am I doing this podcast? Even though I'm thinking about monetizing it, my main goal, the intrinsic value that I find, is the social currency.
Yeah.
The social currency of having conversations with the people that are in my life outside of social media, B, meeting new people, and C, using that channel now to learn from other people's experiences, and have those lessons and have those stories, and be entertained. It's not just always like about just learning curves. It's about just losing our shit and laughing. And
Well, and then it's interesting you said that, because like Fire in the Whole podcast, the one of the big reasons I love doing it is because I get to hang out with Rob Mancini and some of our certain guests. And no one makes me laugh when my stomach hurts more than that guy, right? And the way we connect and all that kind of stuff. But you're not going to learn anything from our podcast. I'm going to tell you that. You're not going to learn anything. You're just going to laugh your dick off.
But that's what sometimes.
tits off.
But that's important, dude.
Laughter's important.
You know, comedy is so huge, and I think that.
Well, we don't. As long as you're not trying to be funny, sometimes you're just funny around people. And the
you guys
topics
are next level,
right?
But man,
it's good. This is fun.
This has been an awesome 2 hours, believe it or not.
Oh my god!
Too much for. I want to first of all let more of my listeners to know. As much as I wanted to do 30 minutes, I realized, fuck it, fuck it. I ain't doing 30 minutes.
Let the conversation go.
Let the conversation go. I never want to cut a conversation short. I might just release. I'm gonna release the whole episode. That's the goal. I'm not gonna split this in two. My man, Roop.
Thank you, buddy.
The pleasure's mine.
Yeah.
Any last words? Any parting words for 2020? A big fuck you to 2020, of course, but at the same time,
it's not a fuck you. And people are like, oh, I can't wait for this year to be over. No, man, I don't see it like that at all. Right. Yeah. Just momentum. I don't get. People always say, oh, you're going to burn out. I've heard that my entire life when it comes to work and shit. Oh, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. I don't burn out. I gain momentum. Right, and going into fucking 2021, it's momentum.
It's momentum. Well, that's what, like, fuck you to like the obstacles right now that we are still overcoming.
We're gonna learn from it.
We're gonna learn from it.
Some of you guys go to the washroom and don't wash your fucking hands. I see you all the time. Wash your fucking hands.
Do you know how crazy that is to think about, man? The fact that, like, even right now, like, we're a little bit more I would say, like, hypo clean, right?
Yeah. Is it hypo clean? Can you be hypo clean?
You should. I mean, it got me thinking. I'm like, wait, this is basics.
Yeah.
Washing hands.
Basics.
Why the fuck are we being told how to do? People should be doing this, right?
Yeah.
I wanna correct something. Like, as much as it's a big fuck you to 2020, for me personally, I was trying to say that generally. For me, 2020 has probably been my best year. Yeah. I think that 2020 has been a year. This is my catalyst year to now catapult into 2021.
Yeah.
Have so many things going on in my mind that I kind of want to execute going into the new year.
Yeah.
I'm amped, man.
I think
I'm excited. Like, I'm looking forward to the future.
When I look at society too, I look at exponential growth. How much as a people we've grown with certain movements, BLM, right? The awareness that we all came across, and now this protest that's going on in India and all that plight that's going on.
Right.
It's, to me, I'm a positive dude. I see absolute growth, exponential growth.
Right.
So.
And like this year, I think there's been a lot of connectivity. We've been brought together.
Yeah.
But going back to what we talked about midway through the podcast, disconnect a little bit. Have those physical connections with the people that matter the most to you and your family. Build those habits. Before you go into bed. Don't use your phone.
Yeah.
I started, big shout out to my buddy Graminder Banga. He has a course coming out, or is out. It's called, it's on time blocking, to start blocking out like time during the day.
Just to do nothing?
To do tasks.
Okay.
So that, like, for example, now that from like 10 to 12, I'm working.
And have it written down somewhere.
And I'm working strictly on my computer that I need to get this.
I like that.
This review done. Where do I put my phone? My phone actually goes all the way in that corner.
Yeah.
On silent, because I realize that I have the tendency to lift my phone every couple of minutes. So something that might take me 2 hours to do takes me an entire day, because every 2 minutes I'm touching my phone. And I realize that little change of blocking time, even putting time in my calendar.
Yeah.
That from like in my work Outlook, that this hour to this hour I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Right now I block time for this podcast.
That's excellent.
And tonight at about 8 to 9, I have an hour block to release the next episode.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to frame your time like that.
And you have so many forces against you, like you just said, like social media. I know we're wrapping up, but social media and stuff like that. But also now what they do now is like Netflix, it's autoplay. As soon as your episode's over, something's coming back.
Yeah.
So it just melts into hour after hour. Maybe I think that Grimminder, what was that? I love that concept. I love organizing that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I think now with Netflix, it used to be like 10 seconds. Now it's like 5.
No, they're putting it on
5, 4, 3. Before you even think about whether you want to watch the next episode, you're like, don't fuck it.
And I'm at the point now where I'm like, oh, fuck, just turn it on straight away. I don't want to wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and that's 2 hours of your day.
Yeah.
Right. And I
For
think
regular people, I'm fucking going 5 hours.
Well, don't get me wrong. But depending on the show,
and the day,
I go on my binges. But anyways, guys,
awesome.
This has been an awesome podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Episodes will be dropping every 2 days, 3 days. And yeah, let's end the year strong. Roop, cheers.
Cheers.
I gotta take a massive piss, man.
Me too. Let's go together.
Peace out, guys.